We'll call to order the meeting, regular meeting of City Council, January 3rd. Roll call.
Mayor Brinkman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Stallman.
Here.
Councilmembers Beckman.
Here.
Councilmember Cernanik.
Present.
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Councilmember Valdez.
Present.
Okay. This evening, we want to welcome Troop 263 from St. Mary's Church. Welcome. And ask you if you wouldn't mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will we all stand? Okay. Council, any changes to the agenda?
Did we have ours?
Okay, seeing none. The minutes from December 6th. Do we have any changes on the regular session minutes from December 6th?
I had a couple on page 3. I emailed the city clerk and asked her who pulled item C on page 3, because we wouldn't have been discussing it unless somebody had pulled it, or did something else happen?
No, I didn't hear who it was on the first time around, but you pulled it.
Aha, should have known I did, huh? Thank you. And then page 10, I think it is.
I know that only has 3 of the council members on there. I have a new piece of Granicus that's supposed to make it easier. Well, it skipped 4 of you on there. I know you were all there, so I'll adjust that and put you all in there as voting affirmative.
Okay.
What's that a new what?
It's a little tweak that I can move after I finish the minutes, because before I was having to do them twice. I had to highlight them, move them over into Word, do all the corrections, then hand do all the corrections back into Granicus. And now I have something that just puts it into Word, but there's a few little tweaks that need to be worked out on it, like the apostrophes, and because they put little boxes, and
Okay.
I'm working on that.
Thank you.
And
Anything
on,
else?
on page 4, I'd already told city clerk about this, line 128. It says, to take place on the 20th, 13th day, and that's one of those places where it just would strike through the 20th to make that correction, or vice versa, whichever it was. Thank you.
The 20th should be stricken through, and the 13th should be underlined.
Okay, any other changes?
No, thank you.
All right. We'll approve those as amended. The minutes of the December 3rd study session, December 13th, excuse me.
I had
Peggy?
a question on this. On page 3, line 60, we have, after the meeting adjourned, then all the stuff from the Council University, which I think just needs to be deleted because we have an entirely separate set of proceedings related to that.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got December 13th study session and December 13th special session. Peggy just made changes to the special session. Do we have any others on either of those? Okay, those will be approved as amended. Okay, citizen, we have citizen guest appearances. Heather, would you like to come down and introduce Lisa?
There aren't any. Michael told her ahead of time.
Council, tonight with me I have Lisa Edmonds. About a year ago, when we got our challenge coins, we started a program within Littleton to give the challenge coin to recognize special heroic assistance from the community. And so what we asked the officers were that if they came across a citizen who stepped up and did something special to be a witness, to help a victim, to help us identify a suspect, to do those things that we asked from the community, that there on the spot that citizen would be given one of our challenge coins, and we would give that back. Lieutenant Enley, he's standing against the wall. I don't think he's going to come down, but
I thought he was holding the wall up.
he was holding it up, yes. So if I could read this for Lisa, who received that challenge coin that day. The men and women of the Littleton Police Department gratefully acknowledge your response to a citizen in distress. You called 911 upon hearing your neighbor's boyfriend pounding on the door and yelling. Knowing she had small children who might be at home and in potential danger, you took it upon yourself to relay information to the responding officers, who then were able to resolve the disturbance without incident. Your commitment and willingness to assist with this incident exemplifies the special spirit you proudly showed to the community. On behalf of the Littleton Police Department, we sincerely thank you and commend your heroic efforts in the award of the Littleton Police Challenge Coin by Lieutenant Jean Endley. Thank you very much. And then here is your award. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This program's been very special to us, and we've really had the opportunity to recognize some people. We have some others that will be coming in the next couple of months that are really been something, and we want to recognize every citizen who steps forward. So thank you again, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, our second citizen appearance will be presented by Councilmember Cole.
Frank, would you and your wife step down? I thought she might like to share the glory here. So we have Frank Atwood and his wife, Maureen Supple. This evening, the City Council is pleased to recognize Frank Atwood as guest citizen for recently being named an everyday hero by 7 News. Frank was honored in late October for organizing the Highlands Ranch Library Chess Club. The free club meets twice a month and attracts players of all ages. There are about 120 members, half of whom are children, some as young as 6 years old. The idea is to have fun, learn chess, and expand problem-solving abilities. Frank got involved with the club 12 years ago when it had only 3 members. He says his wife saw a notice that a chess club coordinator was needed, and Frank said, "I do what I'm told." So I'm not sure that she would agree with that, but anyway. And certainly we wouldn't, but anyway. He says that while no one plays chess casually, the club is not so serious as to use clocks and United States Chess Federation ratings. He says chess is more social than the internet, and he's happy to provide a service that people like. Frank is a Littleton resident and is active in many other community endeavors. He was appointed by City Council 6 years ago to a position on the Victims Assistance Compensation Board. He has served on the Arapahoe County Liquor Authority for the last 6 years. He has volunteered for 3 years for the city's snow squad, on which he shovels the sidewalks for 3 residents. He also hosted an economic development and issues discussion group for several years. And something that, if you do have a copy of this communication, it doesn't say, Frank was awarded the Purple Heart when he was serving in Vietnam in August 1968. He is retired from the federal government, where he worked as a mechanical engineer for the Navy. He and his wife have 2 sons, one a junior at Heritage High School and the oldest a freshman at Colorado School of Mines, who is studying mechanical engineering. The Littleton City Council extends its sincere appreciation to Frank Atwood for his work with the Highlands Ranch Library Chess Club and for the other important contributions he's made to making Littleton, and probably should add the country and the world, a better place.
Nice tie, Frank.
My wife made the tie, and it says approval voting.
Thank you, Frank.
Congratulations.
Okay, next on the agenda is unscheduled public appearances. An unscheduled appearance is an opportunity for any citizen to express an opinion, ask a question regarding city services, council policies, or other matters of community concern that are currently not part of the scheduled agenda. The exception this evening would be comments regarding the fire contract. I understand we may have a couple of people in the audience on that. That will not be a public hearing, so if you do have a comment on that, this would be the time to come down for that. Do we have anyone? Yes. And please state your name and address. Thank you.
My name is William Long. I live at 979 Westbury Drive. Madam Mayor, members of the council, first I want to extend my very best wishes to each of you for a Happy New Year. My name is Bill Long, and I'm here this evening to talk about something a little different than what you may be used to from the citizens. I want to talk about Boy Scouts because I'm so passionate about this organization. Currently, I'm the Scoutmaster of Boy Scout Troop 263, chartered by St. Mary Catholic Parish on South Prince Street. Our troop has a proud history of being continuously active for the past 54 years. In fact, some members have joined us this evening, and one of the council members before me has a son who used to be in our troop as well. Of course, ours isn't the only troop in Littleton. I know of at least 3 other troops who are within just a 2-mile radius of this building. Some think that Boy Scouts emphasize the outdoors and camping. Many don't realize that scouting also prepares young men for adulthood like no other program. It teaches leadership, time management, compromise, and service to the community. One parent told me recently that her son has become much more outgoing since joining Scouts 2 years ago. He's able to confidently stand before his peers to make announcements about upcoming events. Most of his peers don't even have that experience until high school. Our troop is committed to service in the community. In fact, we expect each boy to have more than the minimum number of service hours to advance to a higher rank. We perform all kinds of service for our community. 2 weeks ago, the Scouts handed out personally signed Christmas cards at the VA hospital in Denver. Our Scouts thoroughly enjoy doing this for our veterans, and seeing the smiles on the vets' faces when they open their cards is well worth it to all of us. On that day, we also visited Ronald McDonald House, where we taped Christmas cards to each door for the guests as they arrived back in their rooms. Our troop has also cooked breakfast for the guests there. We also participate in many food and clothing drives. Last year, we actually did our own sock drive to benefit the Broadway Assistance Center. We also collected school supplies for a low-income school in Denver. We offer many service opportunities throughout the year to allow the Scouts to pick an event or organization that they want to assist. Also, you'll be glad to know that we clean up Lee Gulch Trail on the section between Windermere and South Platte River at least once a year. As a Scout, there are several requirements involved in achieving the next level rank within Scouts. At first, the requirements are centered around skills and techniques. Then the focus becomes leadership, service, and merit badges. Our experience has been that merit badge completion is the biggest obstacle for our boys. There's a list of required badges if they want to make Eagle Scout. There are other merit badges that Scouts can choose from based on their interest levels and desires to learn. I would like to point out to Council that on page 13 of the Citizenship and the Community Merit Badge, which is a required merit badge for Eagle Scout, is a picture of our own city of Littleton Courthouse. This is a book that's used by all Boy Scouts nationwide. I think you'll agree that's good marketing for Littleton. While not all of our Scouts make it to the pinnacle of Eagle Scout, our troop leadership tries to assist any Scout who wants to earn that rank. Eagle doesn't come automatically, and it takes a lot of work and commitment. High school tends to blunt a Scout's desire to make Eagle. We jokingly refer to that phase as the fumes, car fumes, perfumes, etc. Our troop has produced 68 Eagle Scouts since 1960. As a result, we now have a third generation of Boy Scouts in this troop. The very first Eagle Scout from Troop 263 is in our chamber tonight. His name is Pete Cernich, sitting over there. If his name sounds familiar, that's because he used to be a Littleton firefighter, retired after 31 years of service. And John has joined us this evening. Additionally, Littleton has established an award for heroism, which is named in the honor of Mr. Cernich's father. Coincidentally, one of our Eagle Scouts is a school teacher, and some of his students are currently in our troop. I'm proud to say that my own son achieved the rank of Eagle Scout in 2008. He completed his final requirement about 2 weeks before the mandatory cutoff, which is his Scout's 18th birthday. By the way, that's typical. That's an honor that will take him throughout the rest of his life. One of the many requirements to make Eagle Scouts is to plan, organize, and execute a project. In the last 4 years, we've had several Eagle projects which were performed right here in Littleton. We had one Eagle who did trail work to mitigate erosion just north of Carson Nature Center. A year and a half ago, one Eagle Scout led a project to build a fence at the Colorado Center for the Blind. The fence helped ensure safety at the top of the steep hill. Last summer, one of our Scouts led a project to build a top-notch playhouse at St. Mary's Preschool. That Scout learned valuable lessons about zoning, safety, and licensing of child care facilities. Also, I'm proud to report that he now understands what bureaucracy is all about. You'll be interested to know that one of our Eagle candidates who is here this evening has also chosen a project at our very own Libby Bortz facility. I've been assured that the project will be completed by mid-March, since that's his 18th birthday. For those of you who worry about the future of our country and express concern about our young people, I would submit to you that perhaps you may not know any Boy Scouts. For 27 years, I proudly wore the uniform serving in the United States Air Force. For the past 15 years, I've also proudly worn a Scout uniform, serving in several different capacities. I will continue to serve the Boy Scout organization. Indeed, I may exceed those 27 years by wearing a Scout uniform. I thoroughly enjoyed my tenure of 4 years as Scoutmaster, and I'm happy to report that soon I'll be passing those responsibilities to another devoted volunteer. In conclusion, I only have one request of you. The next time you see a Boy Scout, please tell him thanks for what he does in this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think for those of you that pay attention to the news and football and all that good stuff, there was the offensive lineman, I believe, from the Oregon Ducks, about a 300-pound young man who was at dinner the other night down at, I believe it was Arizona, and saw that somebody was trying to apply the Heimlich maneuver incorrectly to somebody. And he just told them, I'm an Eagle Scout, let me do it. And he was able to save the man's life. And he did that because he was an Eagle Scout and he had the proper training. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. Well, Littleton definitely loves its Scouts, and we appreciate all that you do. And I think it was about 6 months or a year or so ago, we invited the Scouts down who did do the work at Carson, who added that trail, the new trail through the wetlands and built the bridge. Was that your troop that was okay? But throughout Littleton, you can see signs of the Scouts' activities. So you guys do a great job, and thank you. And we're here for you, too. So appreciate it. Any other? Okay, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Brinkman and City Council members. My name is Rick Owens, and I'm the chairman of the board for the Highlands Ranch Metropolitan District. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm here on behalf of the Highlands Ranch Metropolitan District, and I'd like to express gratitude to the Littleton City Council and the Littleton Fire Protection District and the staff of all three of our organizations. On your agenda tonight is the fire contract that we've worked together to come to an agreement on. And I think it's a great testament to something you don't hear of much anymore, particularly at a national level, government efficiency. Between the three of our entities, we're able to achieve economies of scale and scope that none of us could achieve on our own. And the services that's provided by Littleton Fire Department under Chief Mullen is outstanding, has been for a long time, and we're just happy that we've been able to work together for us to maintain this agreement and for us to put together a document that all of us can work on together and provide services for all of our constituents. So just here to express thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Appreciate it.
Good evening. I'm a little hesitant to do this since it's been such a feel-good meeting up to this point.
We'll need your name and address, too.
James D. Fennell, Denny Fennell, 565 West Davies Way, Littleton, Colorado, 80120. I will hand these out, and if you would hand them down, that would be great. I put this packet together so that you could review it later. I know I have 4 minutes, and when you see the content of what I've put together, you're going to want even less time, probably. I'm concerned about an investigation that was conducted recently at the Littleton Police Department regarding an eavesdropping criminal investigation. I read the report, went through the report. The packet contains my letter to you concerning my concerns regarding that, as well as the report that I read, so you can refer to what I referred to, and the statute that deals with eavesdropping for the state of Colorado, as well as my resume. The reason my resume is in there is several years ago, I had a discussion with one of our former city council people who informed me I had no business getting involved in things I knew nothing about. So with that in mind, I wanted you to know what I know so that you can decide whether I should be involved or not. That's exclusive of the fact that I'm a citizen. One of my concerns was that the investigation dealt with, for instance, interviews with 8 command staff of the Littleton Police Department. Only 1 interview was conducted. No other interviews were accepted. Several people declined and 2 people weren't asked. I don't know how you do an investigation and reach a conclusion with so few interviews. 1 interview was done and requested by the city attorney's office. They said they had to check with city council, and that was the last thing that was mentioned in the report. Now, I admit the only thing that I have to go on is the report. But I am concerned about how we do an internal investigation and leadership and integrity if there's no cooperation in that investigation. I mean, it would seem to me that if somebody doesn't want to talk to an investigator, that's perfectly all right if they have some kind of Fifth Amendment concern or a criminal culpability. If they don't have criminal culpability, I'm a little confused about why people wouldn't come forward and cooperate so that the investigation can reach a right conclusion. I don't see how you can have a conclusion in an investigation if you don't have all the people coming forward to help. My concern with that is, as a former law enforcement officer, I think the integrity of the department requires that those people asked to be interviewed would be interviewed. And why they decided not to do that, I certainly don't know. I do know that, unfortunately, there was discussion by the chief with individuals in the department about whether they should be interviewed or not. And then we're told, and this is in the report, that they didn't have to cooperate if they didn't want to. Now, just call me naive, but after spending 30 years in law enforcement security and security management, you know, when that report was requested and the investigation was requested by the city attorney's office and the city manager's office, the insurance should have been that there will be full cooperation. That's it. End of story. I mean, you know, if you're going to do an investigation, you don't say, go ahead and investigate it, and then if anybody wants to talk to you, okay, and if they don't, okay, that's okay, you know, no problem. Then there was an internal investigation that followed the original investigation. Now, that's a public, I guess, a matter of employment, so that isn't available to me. So I wasn't able to do that. So I reviewed this report. My concerns are based on this report. If this report is wrong or this report is incorrect, I will certainly admit that. But until and if that happens, I would hope that City Council, in their leadership position, would ensure that the city manager, in his leadership position, ensures that the chief, in her leadership position, things are done with integrity and leadership, stepping forward. Why would a command officer who has nothing to do with the investigation decline an interview? I'm at a loss. I'm also qualified. You can look at my resume. I don't know anyone on the Littleton Police Department with the exception of the chief. I was a detective when she was a cadet. That's the only relationship I have with Littleton. I don't know the subject of the investigation, Division Chief Christensen. I don't know any of the lieutenants, and I certainly don't know Sean Dugan, I say that because there seems to be a pervasive feeling of retaliatory actions if anybody does something that's perceived to be out of line. So my hope is this, that I don't expect you to come to me with any kind of conclusion. I'm not even sure I'll ever get a conclusion. I can only tell you this, that as a citizen, I really want leadership. Leadership. Leadership is not being in command. Leadership is leading. Anybody can be in command. But when an investigation is done, that investigation should be done to the conclusion. And where it ends up is where it ends up. That's the purpose of doing an investigation. So my hope is only this as a citizen. The City Council will ensure that those things happen. And they will ensure that the city manager follows those directions. And the city manager will ensure that his department heads follow those directions. And the city attorney, who was asked for the interview and waited for City Council to give them permission, and those reports, when these reports come out, and somebody looks at those reports, I should be able to look at those reports and come to the conclusion, any citizen can, that this was done with transparency and honesty. And I certainly didn't get that impression. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we're moving on to consent agenda. The consent agenda items can be adopted by a simple motion. We have consent agenda item A, 7A. City Attorney.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Littleton, Colorado, specifying the location where notices of public meetings are to be posted.
Okay, this is a result of the State Sunshine Act. We have a requirement that our meetings where we have a quorum in attendance, or there's any formal action or policies, positions, resolutions, rules, or regulations to occur, need to be held after full and timely notice to the public. And these meetings also include our boards and commissions, authorities, and other advisory policy-making, rulemaking, or formally constituted bodies of the city. We annually need to designate a city, at the first meeting of the City Council's calendar year, where those are to be posted. The proposed resolution establishes the front door of the Littleton Center or the indoor wall immediately adjacent hereto as the location for posting of the notices. This does not exclude us from posting in other places, but this allows us one place that is a mandatory by the rules of this resolution. So, item 7B, City Attorney.
An ordinance of the City of Littleton, Colorado, amending ordinance number 21, series of 2011, known as the Annual Appropriation Bill for all municipal purposes of the City of Littleton, counties of Arapahoe, Jefferson, and Douglas, State of Colorado, for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2012, and ending December 31, 2012.
This is an ordinance. We have the lake at Stern Lake requires dredging. We originally had anticipated funding from 3 partners for $50,000 each, us being one of those. The urban drainage flood control, they have a limited amount of money and some other projects within Littleton that will prohibit them from being able to contribute on this project. So the city and South Suburban can still do the dredging if we raise our contributions to $75,000 each. We do have the money in our storm drainage utility fund, and South Suburban has told us that they also would up theirs to $25,000. So this would make our total contribution on this $75,000. Up theirs and ours. Well, up ours.
Mayor, I move that we approve consent agenda items 7A and 7B.
Second. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay. The next item is the approval of the fire agreement, and that will be done by resolution. City Attorney?
This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Littleton, Colorado, authorizing the approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Littleton, Highlands Ranch Metropolitan District, and the Littleton Fire Protection District.
This is, as mentioned earlier by Rick, the three entities, the City of Littleton, Highlands Ranch Metro District, and the Littleton Fire Protection District. The substantive changes of this contract were an administrative fee. We jointly determined how best to charge the fee in arrears. We're going to do a 2-year rolling average with the previous year's actuals. During the duration of that test through 2012, and the initial tracking year will be at 6%. The other substantive change was an advanced life support. The city is committing to provide emergency medical service to the ALS level from all frontline emergency response units 95% of the time. A third one was the TABOR language. We cannot enter into a multi-year contract fiscal obligation, so the final TABOR language clarifies this, and the staff is comfortable with language included, and our partners are equally comfortable. And the fourth substantive change was the fire service expense distribution package. It was agreed, it was agreed to ratchet down this to 8% over 4 years from the current 8.25%. Both of our partners, the ranch and the district, have approved the contract, and so can I get a motion on the table?
Let's see, I move that the fire agreement with Highlands Ranch Metropolitan District and the Littleton Fire Protection District be approved, and the council president is hereby authorized to affix her signature thereto.
Second.
And so we have a motion and a second. Before we vote, I would ask Councilmember Stallman if you'd make a few comments. Councilmember Stallman was our liaison and council liaison on this project, and give us a little bit of your take.
Sure. Yeah. No. I thank you, Mayor. I really want to echo Rick Owens' comments, and it was my privilege to serve as the council's representative on the negotiating team with Fire Chief Mullen, the city's attorney's office, and then later Michael Penny, the city manager. It's wholly appropriate and proper to express our appreciation to Terry Nolan from Highlands Ranch Metro District and Cindy Hathaway from the Littleton Fire Protection District, as well as their respective negotiating teams and their boards of directors, for a combination of their professionalism, their commitment to open communication and negotiating in good faith, and their dedication to not only negotiating their positions aggressively, but also recognizing the value and the equity in the long-standing 30-plus year relationship among the partners. My sense is that this agreement strikes a very fair balance among the respective needs of the individual partners, as well as the fire staff as stakeholders, while acknowledging that it's to our mutual advantage, Rick, as you indicated, to work together to reap the benefits of the economies of scale and providing the citizens of our respective communities with the best fire protection and EMT service in the state of Colorado. So thank you for your guys' participation and everyone who was involved in the process. I definitely recommend approval of this agreement as a result.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Bruce?
Chief Mullen, could I ask you a couple questions? You thought you'd get away with not coming up here, I know. Two questions, and they have to do with Trailmark. It says that currently LFR carries a Class 3 rating as determined by the ISO. How is Trailmark doing?
Right now, and because of a distance of 5 miles from a fire station, the subdivision of Trailmark carries a Class 9 ISO. The rest of the city carries a Class 3.
I know you're working hard on resolving that. but the implication in this document would be that the entire district was a 3.
That would not be the case. It's classified as a 3-9 as of this month.
And the other question is, in the back, in the exhibits, you talk about the response times that are going to be contractual. Will Trailmark be able to meet those requirements?
I don't know that Trailmark was singled out.
It was not. It would have to be averaged in.
I'm thinking that we are still working on addressing the Trailmark response issue. We've been negotiating with West Metro to come to grips with that issue, and that will continue, irregardless of this contract. That will continue.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Chief, did you want to say anything else? Okay. Council ready to vote?
The motion is unanimous. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries. Sorry.
Okay. So we now move on to reports. City Manager, do you have a report?
I do not, Mayor. Thank you.
City Attorney?
I do not.
Okay. Councilmember Beckman?
I do. One thing I just, in reviewing some of my notes just to keep on our radar screen is the status of the Humane Society at Platte Valley. They had some financial issues that were resolved for this year, but Deputy Manager Cortez had talked about those. I just want to keep them on the radar.
Mayor, if I may, very quickly. And so the mayor and I met with reps from Inglewood along with the Humane Society and asked them to look at, they had been, at least from my perspective, they had been looking very short term, and it was kind of that crisis mentality, if you will. I'd say that with best of intention. And so what we asked them to do from both municipalities was kind of step back and say, what are the structural deficiencies that they have in their funding stream? And so the staff, through Deputy City Manager Cortez, his partner in Inglewood, along with the director of the Humane Society, are working to figure out what should be the base funding operational cost, kind of the capital cost, if you will, of keeping it open, and then looking at more of a per animal fee on it. And so I anticipate that they've started those conversations, and I would anticipate within the next month or two we'll have a request from them. We've got to run it by. There's a lot of partners in that as well, not just Inglewood and Littleton, but it's actively being worked on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the other thing I just wanted to talk about was the Fine Arts Committee has announced the 46th Annual Eye of the Camera Photography Exhibition, and the awards are total $1,700. Each year, the Fine Arts Committee puts on and does all the staffing for several events at the museum, and this is the kickoff for this year. The deadline, if you're interested in a photographic entry, is 12 p.m. Wednesday, January 25th, and the exhibition of all the entries will be February 17th to April 1st.
Thank you. Phil?
Thank you. Wanted to mention that the South Metro Denver Chamber of Commerce, through its Economic Development Group, has initiated a program that they refer to as the BRE Ambassadors, which is Business Recruitment and Expansion. And the effort is to go out and gather primary research information from the employers that are in the South Metro area. The plan is to interview 1,000 employers over the next 10 months, and it actually began last month, so I guess it's an 11-month process. I will get more information to the council, and we will look at what level folks might have an interest or possible participation as a local official in any of those individual interviews with employers. The focus is on 2 corridors, the I-25 corridor and the Santa Fe corridor, although their corridor widths are the 3 miles plus or minus, which includes just about all of Littleton in that. And so expect more information on that front.
Thank you. Nothing. Peggy?
Nothing.
Jim?
Nothing.
Bruce.
Two things. I attended the Littleton Public School Board of Education meeting on December 15th. They, at that meeting, accepted their comprehensive annual financial report, commonly referred to as the CAFR, for fiscal 2010 and 2010/11. It's a very substantive document, so if you have, I guess, any questions regarding the school system and the content of the financial performance therein, this is available on the public schools website, and you can certainly pull it up and take a look at it and have it's very comprehensive, as indicated in the name of the report itself. They also provided a report on the 2010 mill levy override one-time spending plan, again with substantive details which are certainly available on the website, but I want to make you aware of that. The other item I thought was interesting was they did a Senate Bill 10-191 update, and this is a long-term, multi-year teacher evaluation, or, well, it's State Board of Education adopted rules for new statewide evaluation system of teachers. And it's going to have a lot of, I think, impact in terms of how teachers in the school system are evaluated, how performance is determined, how they're assigned classes, tenure, so forth and so on. This material doesn't overtly have direct impact on the city of Littleton, and the reason, I guess, from a quick explanation for people who may be tuning in or haven't heard this stuff before, there's substantial overlap between the constituents, the citizens of Littleton, and who are also constituents of the Littleton public school system, and so hence council has over time felt that there's some value in paying attention or being accessible, and likewise I think the Board of Education appreciates us going to some of their meetings, and I've had the opportunity to do that, so I very much enjoy meeting those folks and getting to learn more about it, and then trying to see if ultimately there's any way for us as a city to support the school and then vice versa. One, and I'll put Councilmember Beckman on the spot, and I forgot to mention this to you ahead of time, although I think you're pretty familiar with the topic. One of the things that the school board is adopting is called the Real Colorado program, and Councilmember Beckman's better half, who is County Commissioner Beckman, Susan Beckman, has been instrumental in this. And so I guess what I would do is pass these out to council here, and I've got a few extra to perhaps put on the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, put out front in case anybody wants to pick one up on their way out. But Bruce, do you want to give a quick overview of this program?
I do. This is called Real Colorado, and it's an initiative that is started by Colorado Counties Incorporated, CCI. That represents the 64 counties in Colorado. They took the idea from another state that had gone completely through tremendous financial challenges, and they were trying to figure out a way to get out of their challenged situation, and they developed very close to this protocol. And the protocol says that anyone in government at any level that is looking at implementing any kind of program should apply some of these questions to that program when they're implementing them. And it has to do with trying to find fiscal responsibility and cut back wherever possible on the cost of government.
Anything? Thank you, Bruce. And again, if anyone wants to see one of those, Wendy's got them down here. We'll put them out front. And of course, Real Colorado, I'm going to assume in here somewhere is a website that you can go pull up the information and get more information there. Lastly, and of course the real reason the Scouts are here, is of course the often imitated, never duplicated, always loved and hated Merchant Plug of the Week, which this week goes to one of our favorite restaurants who, is Toast. And the reason we're giving it to Toast this week is because there was some information, perhaps erroneous, in the newspaper I believe, that suggested the Toast had closed when in fact there had been 2 Toast restaurants, one down in Cherry Creek, which in fact did close, but not the Littleton Toast, which is going strong. So if you're up for a big breakfast tomorrow morning, stop by Toast and get the best in town.
You're paying again, is that right?
Somewhere, yeah, we actually, is that in the budget? No.
Jim, Dr. Cog report?
Well, December is a very light month for Dr. Cog. We cancel most of our meetings, but we begin in earnest tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, seeing nothing else on the agenda,